The book of Ezra, chapter 7, verse 1, Ezra 7 and 1, Ezra, rather, not Evans, Ezra, the seventh chapter, and the first verse. Ezra comes to Jerusalem. After these things, during the rule of King Artaxerxes of Persia, Ezra came to Jerusalem from Babylon. Ezra was the son of Sariah. Sariah was the son of Azariah. Azariah was the son of Hilkiah. Hilkiah was the son of Shallum. Shallum was the son of Zadok. Zadok was the son of Ahutub. Ahutub was the son of Amariah. Amariah was the son of Azariah. Azariah was the son of Marioth. Marioth was the son of Zariah. Zariah was the son of Uzi. Uzi was the son of Buki. Buki was the son of Abushua. Abushua was the son of Phinehas. Phinehas was the son of Eleazar. Eleazar was the son of Aaron the high priest. Ezra came to Jerusalem from Babylon. He was a teacher and knew the law of Moses very well. The law of Moses was given by the Lord, the God of Israel. King Artaxerxes gave Ezra everything he asked for because the Lord was with Ezra. Among the people who came with Ezra were Israelites, priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, and temple servants. They arrived in Jerusalem during the 7th year of King Artaxerxes. Ezra arrived in Jerusalem in the 5th month of the 7th year that Artaxerxes was king. Ezra left Babylon on the 1st day of the 1st month and arrived in Jerusalem on the 1st day of the 5th month. With God's blessing, his trip went well. Ezra had always given his time and attention to studying and obeying the law of the Lord. He also loved to teach its rules and commandments to others in Israel. King Artaxerxes' letter to Ezra. Ezra was a priest and teacher. He knew much about the commands and laws of the Lord gave Israel. This is a copy of the letter King Artaxerxes gave to Ezra the teacher. From King Artaxerxes to Ezra the priest, a teacher of the law of God of heaven, the God of heaven, greetings. I give this order. Any of the Israelites living in my kingdom, including priests and Levites who want to go with you to Jerusalem, may go. I and my 7 advisors send you to Judah and Jerusalem. Go and see how your people are doing and obeying the law of the Lord your God. The law of your God. You have that law with you. I and my advisors are giving gold and silver to the God of Israel who lives in Jerusalem. You must take this gold and silver with you. You must also go through all the provinces of Babylonia. Collect the gifts from your people, from the priests and from the Levites. The gifts are for the temple of their God in Jerusalem. Use this money to buy bulls, rams, and male lambs, buy the grain offerings and drink offerings that go with these sacrifices. Then sacrifice them on the altar in the temple of your God in Jerusalem. Then you and the other Jews may spend the silver and gold left over any way you want to. Use it in a way that is pleasing to your God. Take all these things to the God of Jerusalem. Therefore, the worship in the temple of your God, and you may get any other things that you need for the temple of your God. Use the money in the king's treasury to buy anything you need. Now I, King Artaxerxes, give this order all the men who keep the king's money in the area west of the Euphrates to give Ezra anything he wants. Ezra is a priest and a teacher of the law of the God of heaven. Do this quickly and completely. Give this much to Ezra, 3 3/4 tons of silver, 600 bushels of wheat, 600 gallons of wine, and what you need that for, 600 gallons of olive oil, and as much salt as Ezra wants. Anything that God of heaven has ordered for Ezra to get, you must give to Ezra quickly and completely. Do this for the temple of God, the God of heaven. We don't want God to be angry with my kingdom or my sons. I want you men to know that it is against the law to make the priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, temple servants, and other workers in God's temple pay taxes. They don't have to pay taxes, money to honor the king, or any custom fees. Ezra, I give you the authority to use the wisdom you have from your God and choose civil and religious judges. These men will be judges for all the people living in the area west of the Euphrates River. They will judge all the people who know the laws of your God, and they will teach those who don't know those laws. Anyone who does not obey the law of your God or the law of the king must be punished. Depending on the crime, they must be punished with death or sent away to another country, or their property taken away or put into prison. Ezra praises God. Blessed is the Lord, the God of our ancestors. He put the idea into the king's heart to honor the Lord's temple in Jerusalem. God showed his faithful love to me in front of the king, his advisors, and the king's important officials. The Lord my God was with me, and that gave me courage. I gathered together the leaders of Israel to go with me to Jerusalem. Ezra chapter 8, list of leaders returning with Ezra. These are the names of the family leaders and the other people who came with me to Jerusalem from Babylon. We came to Jerusalem during the rule of King Artaxerxes. Here's the list of the names. From the descendants of Phinehas, Gershom; from the descendants of Ithamar, Daniel; and from the descendants of David, Hattush; From the descendants of Jeconiah, the descendants of Peros, Zechariah, and 150 other men. From the descendants of Path, Moab, Elianai, son of Zariah, and 200 other men. From the descendants of Zatu, Shechaniah, son of Jehaziel, and 300 other men. From the descendants of Adin, Abed, son of Jonathan, and 50 other men. From the descendants of Elam, Jeshiah, son of Athaliah, and 70 other men. From the descendants of Shephatiah, Zebediah, son of Michael, and 80 other men. From the descendants of Joab, Obadiah, son of Jehiel, and 218 other men. From the descendants of Bani, Shalomith, son of Josepheth, and 160 other men. From the descendants of Babai, Zechariah, son of Babai, and 28 other men. From the descendants of Azgad, Johanan, son of Hakatan, and 110 other men. From the descendants of Adonikim, Eliphelet, Joel, Shemaiah, and 60 other men. From the descendants of Bigvai, Uthai, Zachor, and 70 other men. The return to Jerusalem. I call all these people to meet together at the river that flows toward Ahava. We camped at that place for 3 days. I learned there were priests in the group, but there were no Levites. So I called these leaders, Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Ethaniah, Elnathan, Jerib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, Meshullam, and I called Jerob and Elnathan. These men were teachers. So you have 2 Elnathans and let's see, 2 Elnathans. I sent the men to Edo, leader in the town of Casiphia. I told them what to say to Edo and his relatives who were the temple workers in Casiphia. I told the men to ask Edo and his relatives to send us workers to serve in God's temple because God was with us. They sent Sherebiah, a skilled man from the descendants of Mali. Mali was the son of Levi, one of Israel's sons. They also sent his sons and brothers, 18 men in all. They also sent Ashabiah, Jeshiah from the descendants of Merari, along with their brothers and nephews. In all, there were 20 men. Besides these, there were 220 temple workers whose ancestors had been chosen by David and his officials to help the Levites. The name of all these men were written on the list. There near the Harva River, I announced that we all should fast. We should fast to make ourselves humble before our God. We wanted to ask God for a safe trip for ourselves, our children, and for everything we own. I was embarrassed to ask King Artaxerxes for soldiers and horsemen to protect us as we traveled. There were enemies on the road. The reason I was embarrassed to ask for protection was because of what we had told the king. We had said to King Artaxerxes, our God is with everyone who trusts in him, but he's very angry with everyone who turns away from him. So we fasted and prayed to our God about our trip, and he answered our prayer. Then I chose 12 of the priests who were leaders. I chose Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers. I weighed the silver and the gold and the other things that were given for God's temple. I gave them to the 12 priests I had chosen. King Artaxerxes, his advisors, his important officials, and all the Israelites in Babylon gave those things for God's temple. I weighed all these things. There were 25 tons of silver, 7,500 pounds of gold, of silver dishes and things. There were 3 4 tons of gold. And I gave them 20 gold bowls. The bowls weighed about 19 pounds. And I gave them 2 beautiful dishes made from polished bronze that were as valuable as gold. Then I said to the 12 priests, you and these things are holy to the Lord. People gave this silver and gold to the Lord, the God of your ancestors. So guard these things carefully. You're responsible for them until you give them to the temple leaders in Jerusalem. You will give them to the leading Levites and the family of Israel. They will weigh them and put them in the rooms the Lord's temple in Jerusalem. So the priests and the Levites accepted the silver, gold, and special things that Ezra had weighed and given to them. They were told to take them to God's temple in Jerusalem. On the 12th day of the first month, we left the Ahava River and started toward Jerusalem. God was with us, and he protected us from enemies and robbers along the way. Then we arrived in Jerusalem. We rested there for 3 days. On the 4th day, we went to the temple and weighed the silver, gold, and special things. We gave them to Merari, son of Uriah the priest. Eleazar, son of Phinehas, was with Merari. The Levites, Josabab, son of Jeshua, Tobiah, son of Benui, were with them also. We counted and weighed everything, and we wrote down the total weight. Then the Jewish people who came back from captivity offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel. They offered 12 bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 male goats for a sin offering. All this was a burnt offering to the Lord. Then the people gave the letter from King Artaxerxes to the royal satraps and to the governors of the area west of the Euphrates River. Then the leaders gave their support to the Israelites and to the temple. Ezra 9, marriages to non-Jewish people. After we finished all these things, the leaders of the Israelites came to me and said, Ezra, the Israelites have not kept themselves separate from the other people living around us. And the priests and the Levites have not kept themselves separate. The Israelites are being influenced by evil things done by the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Ammonites, Moabites, Egyptians, and Amorites. The Israelites have married the people living around us. The Israelites are supposed to be special, but now they're mixed with the other people living around them. The leaders and important officials of the Israelites have set a bad example in this thing. When I heard about this, I tore my robe and my coat to show I was upset. I pulled hair from my head and beard. I sat down and shocked and upset. Then everyone who respected God's law shook with fear. They're afraid because the Israelites who came from captivity were not faithful to God. I was shocked and upset. I sat there until the evening sacrifice and the people gathered around me. Then it was time for the evening sacrifice. I got up and I made myself look shameful while I was sitting there. My robe and coat were torn, and I fell on my knees with my hands spread out to the Lord my God. Then I prayed this prayer. My God, I'm too ashamed and embarrassed to look at you. I'm ashamed because our sins are higher than our heads. Our guilt has reached all the way up to the heavens. We've been guilty of many sins from the days of our ancestors until now. We sinned, so our kings and priests were punished. Foreign kings attacked us and took our people away. They took away our wealth and made us ashamed. It's the very same even today. It's the same even today. But now, finally, you've been kind to us. You've let a few of us escape captivity to come to live in this holy place. Lord, you gave us new life and relief from our slavery. Yes, we were slaves, but you not let us be slaves forever. You were kind to us. You made the kings of Persia be kind to us. Your temple was ruined, but you gave us new life so we can rebuild your temple and repair it like new. God, you helped us build a wall to protect Judah and Jerusalem. Now, God, what can we say to you? We've stopped obeying you again. We used your servants, the prophets, to give these commands to us. You said the land you're going to live in and own is a ruined land. It's been ruined by evil things the people living there have done. They've done very bad things in every place in this land. They made this land dirty with their sins. So Israelites, don't let your children marry their children. Don't join them. Don't want the things they have. Obey my command so that you'll be strong and enjoy the good things of the land. And you can keep this land and give it to your children. What has happened to us is our own fault. We have done evil things and we have much guilt, but you, our God, have punished us much less than we should have been. We've done many terrible sins and we should have been punished worse. And you even let some of our people escape captivity. So we know that we must not break your commands. We must not marry those people. They do very bad things. God, if we continue to marry these bad people, we know you'll destroy us. Then there would be no one from the Israelites left alive. Lord God of Israel, you're good, and you still have some of us left, and you have still let some of us live. Yes, we are guilty, and because of our guilt, not one of us should be allowed to stand in front of you. Ezra 10, the people confessed their sins. Ezra was praying and confessing. He was crying and bowing down in front of God's temple. While Ezra was doing that, a large group of the Israelites, men, women, and children, gathered around him. They were crying. Then Shechaniah, son of Jehiel, one of the descendants of Elam, spoke to Ezra and said, we've not been faithful to our God. We've married the people living around us. But even though we've done this, there is still hope for Israel. Now let's make an agreement before our God to send away all these women and their children. We will do that to follow the advice of Ezra and the people who respect the laws of our God. We'll obey God's law. Get up, Ezra. This is your responsibility, but we will support you. So be brave and do it. So Ezra got up. He made the leading priests, the Levites, and all the Israelites promise to do what he said. Then Ezra went away from the front of God's house. He went to the room of Jehohanan, son of Elisha, while Ezra was there. He didn't eat or drink water. He did this because he was still very sad. He was very sad about the Israelites who came back to Jerusalem. Then he sent a message to every place in Judah and Jerusalem. The message told all the Jewish people who had come back from captivity to meet together in Jerusalem. Those who did not come to Jerusalem in 3 days, like the officials and elders said, would lose their property and be removed from the group. So in 3 days, all the men from the families of Judah and Benjamin gathered in Jerusalem. And on the 20th day of the 9th month, all the people met together in the temple yard. They were very upset because of the reason for the meeting and because of the heavy rain. You got us out here in this rain. Then Ezra the priest stood and said to them, you people have not been faithful to God. You've married foreign women. You made Israel more guilty by doing that. Now you must confess your sins to the Lord, the God of your ancestors. You must obey his command. Separate yourselves from the people living around you and from your foreign wives. Then the whole group who met together answered Ezra. They shouted, Ezra, you're right. We must do what you say. But there are many people here, and it's a rainy time of the year, so we cannot stay outside. This problem cannot be solved in a day or two because we sin in a bad way, very bad way. Let our leaders decide for the whole group meeting here. Then let every man in our towns who married a foreign woman come here to Jerusalem at a planned time. Let them come here with the elders and judges of their towns, and God will stop being angry with us. Only a few men were against this plan. They were, y'all going to call them out. Jonathan, son of Ashiel, and Jeziel, son of Tikva. Meshullam and Shabetha, the Levite, were also against the plan. So the Israelites who came back to Jerusalem accepted the plan. Ezra the priest chose men who were family leaders. He chose one man from each tribe. Each man was chosen by name. On the first day of the 10th month, the men were chosen, sat down to study each of the cases. And by the first day of the first month, they finished discussing all the men who had married foreign women. List of men who married foreign women. These are the names of the descendants of the priests who married foreign women. From the descendants of Jeshua, son of Jehozadak, Jeshua's brother, these men, Mashiach, Eleazar, Jareb, Gedaliah. All of them promised to divorce their wives. And each of them offered a ram from the flock for a guilt offering. They did that because of their guilt. Ooh, that's deep. From the descendants of Immer, these men, Hananiah and Zebediah. From the descendants of Haram, these men, Messiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jael, and Uzziah. Now, did God tell them to do that? They're just zealous in doing this. From the descendants of Pashur, these men, Elaniah, Mashiach, Ishmael, Nethaniel, Josabad, and Elasa. Among the Levites, these are the men who married foreign women: Josabad, Shemaiah, Kaliah, also called Kelita, Pathaliah, Judah, and Eleazar. Among the singers, this is the man who married a foreign woman, Elisha. Among the gatekeepers, these are the men who married foreign women, Shalom, Telem, and Uri. Among the other Israelites, these men married foreign women. From the descendants of Perosh, these men, Bariah, Isaiah, Machajah, Mirjam, Eleazar, Machajah, and Benaiah. From the descendants of Elam, these men, Mattaniah, Zechariah, Jael, Abdi, Jeremoth, and Elijah. From the descendants of Zatu, these men, Elisha, Mattaniah, Jeremoth, Zadab, Aziza. From the descendants of Baby, these men, Jehohanan, Hananiah, Zabai, and Athli. From the descendants of Bani, these men, Meshullam, Maluk, Adaiah, Jashub, Sheel, Jeremiah. From the descendants of Paoth Moab, these men, Adnah, Kelel, Benaiah, Messiah, Mattaniah, Bezalel, Benua, and Manasseh. From the descendants of Haram, these men, Eleazar, Ishka, Micaiah, Shemaiah, Shimeon, Benjamin, Maluk, and Shemariah. From the descendants of Hashum, these men, Mattaniah, Mattaniah, Zadab, Eliphet, Jeremiah, Manasseh, and Shimei. From the descendants of Bani, these men, Madai, Amram, Uel, Benaiah, Bediah, Kalua, Benaiah, Meromoth, Elisha, Mattaniah, and Jesu. From the descendants of Benu, these men, Shemaiah, Shelemiah, Nathan, Adiah, Machanit Shabai, Shashai, Sharai, Azarel, Shelemiah, Shemariah, Shalom, Amariah, and Joseph. From the, only one name you can kind of pronounce there, Joseph. From the descendants of Nebo, these men, Jael, Mattithiah, Sadab, Sabina, Sadai, Joel, and Benaiah. All these men married foreign women, and some of them had children with these wives. This is the word of the Lord. Tomorrow we'll start the book of Nehemiah, but this is the word of the Lord. This is the completion of the book of Ezra. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe. Encourage others to join in with us. Put these words in the comment section. This is the word of